so appreciate how she helped me, and she's been a guest on Rich's program too, and her website is thezenofben.com. And Rich, do we have a minute for me to just read a short part from what happened when I was working with her and what she told me?
Absolutely.
I think it's very pertinent.
Yes,
so,
go ahead.
So Donia works with Ben. He is a soulmate of hers who's on the other side. So he's passed on, and she channels him by writing. So I became aware of her, was introduced to her, and so we're having this whole very surreal conversation via Facebook Messenger of all places. And she was having trouble following my story because it was so complicated and it was so big. And so I'll just read to you from the summary that she wrote of it with my permission. And what she said was she had changed my name in the story and was calling Anne Warren Little Judy at that point. So I'll just read from Donia's summary. Judy finally asked Ben what to do because I wanted to know, okay, great, what does one do when one has their own ghost? You know, here's a basic question. Well, Donia may have been overwhelmed by the complexity of the stories and the amazing cast of characters, most of whom have been left out of this account. Ben was not. He listened to, read the whole story, and then stepped up and addressed Judy. Ben, Judy, your ghost is you, and you are your ghost. It's time for you to learn the lessons she didn't learn in her lifetime. If you want her to let go and move on, you have to let go and move on. You are as stubborn as she is, and she is as stubborn as you are. If you can't learn to let go, you will have to come back and do it again. And then there will be 3 of you. It's not going to stop until the lesson is learned. I understand about wanting to be with your soulmate, but that is part of what you need to learn. Someone being your soulmate doesn't make him what you want him to be. It sounds to me like his job this time is to break your heart until you stop letting him. And I then wanted to know what I needed to do to get my ghost to go home. I again was asking that question, how do I let go? How do I actually do that? Ben pulled no punches. Ben, you have to have a conversation with her and tell her that you will let go of the man who is breaking your heart, and she must do the same. Because here it was playing out again from the 1600s and playing out again in present time. Assure her that in the timeless, spaceless place, you will all have a glorious reunion and everything will be all right. When you let go, she will let go. There's no point in sprinkling holy water around or burning incense. She's not doing anything inappropriate as far as she's concerned. Once she realizes that her soul has learned to put on her big girl panties, she will do likewise and move on. And that just became hysterical because I later private messaged with Donia, and she's like, I'm so sorry. I hope you weren't offended that he told you to put your big girl panties on. And it just made me burst out laughing because it was part of how I knew how authentic it is when she's just really channeling. She's just really writing from him from the other side. And it was just exactly what I needed to hear. And I just loved her sense of humor and her light touch with it, because I was in this place of just more tearing out my hair and very, very frustrated and emotional and scared by it at times. So it was just, I appreciated her light touch and just her evenness with it, and that she was able to see the sense of humor. That helped me see the sense of humor in it.
Then it's just crazy. Donia is awesome.
She is. Now, Martha, have you known Donia for a long time?
Wendy, it looks like Martha may have left us. She may not be with us.
Very good. Very good.
I'd like to point out with Danya Wickenhauer that you were talking about that Ben, the entity with which she's in contact, he has a whimsical, comical sense of humor as well as comes through in Zen of Ben, and I'm sure you picked up on that from Danya as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just perfect. I mean, that's why they're just the perfect pair, because they specialize in helping ghosts get home. They specialize. Ben calls himself the crossing guard, which is a great analogy too. So,
Becky, what has your experience been, if any, with ghosts?
With ghosts?
Yes,
well,
have you had any?
Yes. The ghost that visits me the most is my dad. Tomorrow is his angelversary, his 17th, which I find that really interesting. I was sitting here looking. I looked at the date, and I thought, my God, tomorrow. He's appeared to me just it's so funny because when I see him, I was at the last time I saw him, I was at my mom's. I'm just sitting there, and I see him stand at the back of the end of the hall, and I forgot that he was dead, and I forgot that he was dead for like a very, very many years. And I just like smiled, like, hey, Dad, how's it going? You know, you forget. But I too have crossed ghosts over. My the funniest one I've had was because I live here in Johnstown, and I am so connected to the 1889 Johnstown flood, which is another connection Wendy and I have. She regressed me and really helped me deal with the emotions and the guilt I felt about that. But there was one that we were crossing over. We crossed over about 100 people. There was a long line, and the majority of them were from the time of the flood. And there was one little man who was there, and we were laughing because he first showed himself to my daughter, not to me. And he said that he had been waiting around and that he had been that I had rejected him because he was just a minor and he wasn't as wealthy as the people from the Southwark Fishing and Hunting Club. And so he was just there, and that he had waited for a long time. And he called me Missy, and Missy, I thought. And I said, Missy doesn't make sense. And I was like, wait, say it slower. And he's very Irish. And he said, Missy, but what he was saying was Miss Izzy. And in my past life, I was literally my own great-grandmother, and her name was Izora. So it was Miss Izora, like Missy, Miss Izzy. Anyway, I asked him if he would come and show himself to me later. And so later that night when I was laying in bed, this vision came to me, and it was this really little guy, and he's just like kind of looking, smiling, and he waved, and then he left. And I thought that was just really a cool little visit. I don't know if he's still around, though, but it was a really cool a short little Irish guy. I was, I guess he's still waiting. I don't know, because he refused to leave, so he's still around somewhere. I don't know where he's at. I guess I'll have to find him,
Wendy, I have a note here. I have a bonus question to ask you. Joe and Marilyn. Tell us a little about Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe and how they relate to something you have planned.
Yes. Well, in addition to writing the fiction series, the first book that I wrote, Regression Healing 1, is a past life regression session, and the next book in that series, Regression Healing 2, Joe and Marilyn, I just was absolutely floored to be having lots and lots of experiences with a Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe. I mean, I didn't expect it. I just really was a big surprise. So to have multiple past life regression sessions with a Joe DiMaggio client and two of them with a Marilyn Monroe client was really, really surprising to me. And they are from the same timeline, meaning that the person who's Joe now and the person who's Marilyn now recognize each other from that time period and did recall really a long friendship. I mean, a short, not so easy marriage that was less than a year, but a pretty long friendship. and that's what the next book is going to be.
Wow, that is going to be exciting.
There's a lot's been written about Marilyn Monroe in particular. I mean, Joe DiMaggio too. I mean, just simply because they were so well known. But I'm not aware of any other. I've tried Googling and searching and asking other past life regressionists, and I'm not aware of anywhere else where there's been both a Joe and a Marilyn coming together. And it was important because there was healing and forgiveness that needed to go on between the two of them. So I'm very, very glad that they found each other and came back together, even though it's clearly another lifetime for both.
What a privilege to get to work with both of them directly like that.
Yes. It certainly is.
Wendy Rose Williams, tell our listeners what is the best way they can connect with you regarding upcoming events, and I'd like for you to tell us about those as well, and your publications, the books that you have out, where they can get them.
Sure. The two best ways to connect with me, to find me, are via my website, which is simply my full name. So it's Wendy, spelled with a Y, rosewilliams.com. So that's one way, and that's got all my contact information on there. It's got the various radio programs and upcoming events. If anyone is local in the Seattle area or travels to the Seattle area, I do workshops here regularly, as well as have the good fortune to be asked to speak at the Wisdom Soup meetup and East-West Bookshop and just other conferences and workshops in the Seattle area. And something to make listeners aware of, if anyone would like to learn more about a comprehensive one-on-one session with me, I offer 3 different types of past life regressions. You're able to read about those on the website. And I do offer a complimentary 30-minute phone appointment if anybody would like to learn more and see if it's the right time for them, if it's a potential fit. So they can just reach out via the website. And then the other way is via Facebook. So please look for me on Facebook as Wendy Rose Williams, and look for Becky's group. Anyone interested in reincarnation and past life memories, look for Becky Buchko's Reincarnation and Past Life Memories group, because that's where Becky and Rich and I all found each other.
And I want to also mention what you did earlier. Again, Danya Wiccan and the Zen of Den. We want to give her a plug while we're at it as well. We have about 9 minutes left, Wendy, so I always like to end the show with what message would you like to send out to our listeners? If you had one message that you could send out tonight, what would it be?
To believe in yourself, regardless of how odd the experiences may be. Just really listen to your gut and the wisdom of your own soul, and just take the time to learn how to manage your own energy, center your own energy, clear it, ground it, and just find how can you raise your own vibration, because that's just the key to everything good in life. In my book is all come through my having stepped to that plate a little bit later in life than many. I didn't even start on that path until I was 49, but just zero regrets, and it just can make such a marvelous difference of being able to find peace and love within ourselves, and then being able to share that with others and reach out a hand to them to be able to help them in a meaningful way, like you do, Rich, with this wonderful program and your hard work in making these into YouTubes, etc., and like Becky does with her marvelous Facebook group, because that Facebook group is quite unique in that it's so carefully kept as a safe place, and it's such a large worldwide group.
Wendy Rose Williams, I want to thank you very much for being the guest tonight on Daily Talk, and I want to urge all our listeners to read The Flow One, Women's Plantation. Look Wendy up on Facebook, go to her website, and I want to wish everyone a wonderful evening and happy holidays. Good night, Wendy.
Well, thank you so much, Rich. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Martha. And the book will be available in a couple weeks. It'll be available on Amazon.com.
Thank you, Wendy. Good night.
Good night.